There is a quiet conversation happening inside your body right now, and most people over the age of 50 have been ignoring it for years. That dull ache in your lower back when you first stand up from a chair, the stiffness that greets you every single morning before you even get out of bed, the sharp pinch that catches you off guard when you lean down to tie your shoes, none of this is simply the unavoidable price of getting older. That idea, the belief that pain is just what aging feels like, is one of the most damaging things a person can accept as truth. Because the moment you believe the pain is permanent, you stop looking for the door that leads out of it. The reality is far more interesting and far more hopeful. Your spine has not broken down, it has adapted. For decades, it has quietly adjusted itself to match the way you sit, the way you carry weight, the way you move through your daily life. And somewhere along the way, those accumulated adaptations began to cost you. Not because your body gave up on you, but because it has been working overtime to protect a joint that lost its ability to move freely. Understanding this is the first step toward changing it. Deep at the base of your spine, right where the lowest vertebra meets the pelvis, sits a joint that receives almost no attention in mainstream health conversations. This junction acts as the foundation for virtually every movement your body makes. Every time you take a step, sit down, stand up, reach forward, or shift your weight, this junction is involved. When it is functioning well, you never notice it. When it becomes compressed and restricted, which happens gradually through years of slouched sitting, awkward sleeping positions, and repetitive limited movement patterns, it begins to send distress signals upward through the entire spine. And because the body is a deeply interconnected system, those signals don't stay local. They travel. They create tension in muscles far from the original source. They alter the way you walk. They change your posture. They make your hips feel tight even when nothing is wrong with your hips. Treating the symptoms without addressing this underlying restriction is why so many people stretch and massage and rest, only to find the pain returning within days. What actually helps is movement. Not aggressive movement, not high-impact training, not anything that pushes the body into discomfort. What helps is precise, intentional, gentle movement that speaks directly to the nervous system and reminds the body how to return to balance. The first approach involves lying face down on a firm, flat surface and slowly pressing up onto both elbows while keeping the hips and lower body relaxed on the floor. This creates a mild backward curve in the spine, which is the opposite of what most people spend their days doing. The majority of modern life is lived in forward flexion, leaning towards screens, hunching over steering wheels, rounding the back into soft furniture. This gentle press reverses that pattern. The spine extends, the compressed base joint gets a moment of decompression, and the surrounding muscles receive a signal that movement is not only possible, but safe. Many people notice a shift in how they feel within the first 30 seconds, not because anything dramatic has happened structurally, but because the nervous system has been given permission to release some of the protective tension it has been holding. The second movement is done lying on the back with knees bent and feet flat, then slowly allowing both knees to drift together toward one side, then the other, in a gentle rhythmic motion. This kind of rotation is something most adults over 50 almost never do in their daily lives. Modern movement tends to be entirely linear, forward and back, up and down. The rotational dimension gets abandoned, and the joints that depend on rotation begin to lose their range. When the body rediscovers this motion through slow, calm repetition, the response is often immediate. Muscles that have been locked in a bracing pattern begin to soften. The base of the spine begins to move again, and within the joints themselves, specialized sensors called mechanoreceptors register the movement and send calming input to the brain, which actively reduces the perception of pain. This is not a metaphor. It is measurable neurological change, triggered by something as simple as a gentle rocking motion done for 30 seconds before sleep. The third movement requires getting onto all fours and performing what is sometimes called a bird dog, extending one arm forward while hovering the opposite knee just slightly off the ground, holding briefly, then switching sides. This exercise looks deceptively easy, but it activates a group of deep spinal muscles that most people with chronic back pain have effectively lost access to. When the brain experiences persistent pain in any area of the body, it begins to reduce the activation of the muscles closest to that area as a protective strategy. The result is that the spine loses its most important internal support system. The body then compensates by recruiting larger, more superficial muscles for tasks they were never designed to handle, which creates new tension, new imbalances, and new pain. The bird dog movement begins to reverse this process. By demanding subtle balance and precise control rather than raw strength, it reactivates the deep stabilizers and begins rebuilding the automatic protective system the spine depends on. The fourth movement is done standing near a wall for light support, shifting weight onto one leg and slowly drawing wide circles in the air with the lifted knee. This targets a set of muscles along the outer hip that are almost universally weak in people who spend significant time sitting. When these muscles are not functioning properly, the pelvis drops slightly with every step. That small, repeated drop creates a twisting force at the base of the spine with every single footfall. Over thousands of steps per day, over months and years, this adds up to significant stress on exactly the joint that has already become restricted. Rebuilding strength and coordination in these hip stabilizers takes pressure off the lower back in a way that no amount of back stretching alone can achieve. It also improves balance, reduces fall risk, and restores the kind of postural control that makes everyday movement feel effortless rather than effortful. These four movements, done consistently and with attention, can genuinely change the experience of living in a body over 50. Not because they are miraculous, but because they address the actual mechanics of what has gone wrong rather than simply numbing the symptoms. The spine is not fragile. The body is not finished. Adaptation works in both directions, and the same system that slowly learned to hold tension and restrict movement can, with the right input, slowly learn to release it. You are not managing decline. You are actively participating in recovery, and that distinction changes everything about what is possible from here.